All right, so this is a gray game. Hey, it's back. Interesting. So it's giving us a notable game, I'm assuming using the Caro-Kann, with Karpov, who is puffy. And apparently white won. Doesn't seem like a great game to show. Whatever. Anand, I've seen him before. All these guys, they're like 7 feet tall. Probably not. Larry Law. He won with the Caro-Kann. Mr. McSpeedy loves the Caro-Kann. Fine. Let's see what it is. So, you play it with E4. I think you can play it with D4 as well. Right? So what is that? C6? Yep. And that's it. It's pretty easy. That's all you got to do the Caro-Kann. Surely there's more to this. All right, the Caro-Kann defense is known above all for its solidity. That means it's solid. The defining move, C6, also being the first move, is the fourth most popular reply to E4. The first being and nearly twice as common as the number 5 move. That's kind of confusing. It prepares for D5. Right, as in it wants to push D5 without blocking in the light squared bishop. So the whole point is to open up the light squared bishop. Fair enough. I'm assuming, what is it? Black has a problem opening up the light squared bishop. So this avoids that, which is considered the main drawback of its cousin, the French. It's the French though, man. So the French would be E4 and E6. I don't ever play E6. I don't play the French. Why? Listen, I like the French. Je t'aime les Français. I want to fianchetto the dark squared bishop always, and E6 prevents that in the beginning, from what I understand, which may not be a lot. A standby for positional players at almost every level. Almost, not my level. The Caro-Kann was a particular favorite of the world champion, Anatoly Karpov. Is Karpov dead or something? Is that what it says it was? Has he retired? Let's find out really quick. Anatoly Karpov. Yeah, he might be an older guy. Definitely an older dude. I don't think he's dead. Grandmaster, Soviet. No, he's still around. He's still around. I wonder if he's retired. He was a young master in the 60s. Yeah. Apparently he played Fischer, who did not play Fischer, who was Soviet. This dude's hair was awesome. So apparently he retired. Huh. And then became a politician. Wild. Karpov's classical tournament play has been seriously limited since '97. And he's more involved with Russian politics. Interesting. Okay, well, there's a little history lesson for you, in the event that you care to know it. So, he loved the Caro-Kann. Let's find out the pros. Here's the question. Does this actually show you this window? I don't actually know if it does or not. I'm going to find out really fast. I think it does. It does. Hell yeah. Okay. It didn't tell me the pros. The fuck? Oh, maybe it's just down. Okay, so that's an anchor. It just pops you down here. Well, never mind then. I guess I'll just go down here. The pros: sound pawn structure, free light squared bishop, safe and solid. Safe. I don't like that. Less space for black. Right, because you're just opening up with, what is that, C6? Is it C6? That's C6. Slower development, fine. There are many different responses for white. I would love to know any of them. Let's find out what they are. Interesting. I wonder why it's not playing the little sound. That's annoying. What the sound, man? Let me close that. All right. Right. So C6. You can just gain space with D4, and that's all it's going to show me. Caro-Kann is somewhat complicated opening with several respected variations. On white's second move, D4 is by far the most common. The main exception to know is the two knights defense, which it's not going to show me. Why? Why don't you show me that? Oh, these are the variations. Interesting. So you can go D3. You can do a kind of Englishy type thing. Just whip out that knight. Just whip it out. Or the other knight. So white can do whatever the hell they want. Okay. Looks like white could probably open up with D4 and then E4. But maybe not. Maybe not, because if white did D4 and you did the Caro-Kann, no, they could do E4. I guess the attack could come with knight F6, but I don't know. Okay, so let me look at these. Main exception to know is the two knights variation, which would be E4 E6, E4 C6, knight F3. So I can't. Hey, holy shit! It lets me do it right there. Can I actually move the piece? Hold on. Nope, won't let me do it. Great. Lets me draw, though. Knight F3. I throw down D5, Caro-Kann, and knight C3. So this is the two knights defense. Somewhat complicated, respected white's second move, D4. The main exception to know is the two knights defense. Exception to what? That's the question. Does look like white has a lot more development. And white's third move is where the Caro really branches out. White has no fewer than 5 popular classics choices here. Dear God. Okay. Caro-Kann. Right. So that goes knight C3 instead of the F. I'm going to take that pawn, take it back. The light squared bishop comes out. Now, I'm not going to say I don't understand this move, but I kind of don't. Excuse me while I drink this soda water. Now, you might want to know, am I going to play tonight? Yes, I'm going to play. Tapo Chico. But first, I want to do a little studying. Okay. All right. No one's watching anyway, right? I think we have Catch Yemen, who's in school right now. So... Classical variation. I believe the classical variation, well, is a variation, right? It is variation. Not exactly sure why they call it the classical. This is a lot of openings. Like, this is the classical variation, which I mistook for a while as this is like the classical way to set up. I don't think so. I think it's actually like, oh, no, we're going to deviate. Hence the name classical variation. It's a little confusing for me. Maybe I overthink. Okay. Knight C3. Kaboom. Is white's most common choice by a narrow margin over e5. Right, so e5 would just be like, screw you. Black almost always captures with this guy. So that's the next move. Excuse me. It's like 2 in the morning. With white making the obvious reply. Obviously you take the pawn. Of course. White can also reach these lines with other ways. Who gives a fuck? From here, the game can go in several respective directions, but bishop f5 is the most popular. And this, my dears, is the classical variation. Samrata, what's up, man? I'm doing some Caro-Kann research before playing. We're looking at the classical variation at present. And I'm reading through this. Hopefully chess.com doesn't get mad at me for doing this. But I actually don't know if this is readily available information. Are you a member of chess.com? If you're not, let me know if you can access the lessons. If you are, then good. Keep doing that. Okay. I will play, I'm going to do some research first. Where can the game go, O guru of chess, chess.com? From here, the game can go in several respected directions, but bishop f5 is the most popular. This is the classical variation. Black very reasonably. Why do they always add these adverbs? You don't need the very. Black very reasonably develops the light squared bishop, meaning they have moved the light squared bishop. Also, we use these terminologies. We use these terms. They're confusing to me because I'm like, to develop the bishop, I would assume that means to a square that is beneficial. But actually, developing a piece just means you move it. Bro, you yourself gifted me a membership about 2 weeks ago. Oh, fuck. Samrata, I have to admit, most of the time that I'm on this, I'm drunk. So, I tend to forget. It's also really early in the morning, but indeed, I did. It was during the tournament. Have you made use of the gold membership? Has it been a good use? As in, have you found value in it? Also, for the chat, for the future, I am not drunk tonight. I have taken a step away from alcohol. I have confounded the Kentucky gods of whiskey and bourbon and said, nay, not for a while, y'all. The reason being, this past weekend was my birthday. And let's just say I needed to take a little bit of a break. So, we're taking a break from the alcohol. Great. Instead, I'm drinking Topo Chico, and it is the bomb. It's delicious. If you like soda water, it's delicious. Okay. Why is this a good move? I mean, it's attacking the knight. Okay. I guess there's not really any other place to put the light squared bishop. Here blocks the e-pawn. Here blocks the queen. And removes the square for the knight. Here it gets taken. Here it gets taken. So I guess it's kind of the only good spot for the bishop. And the whole point of doing the Caro-Kann is to do this move, I suppose. Or to free up the light squared bishop. So yeah, I guess that's the only square. So yeah, the gift, that gift by you helped me a lot improving your game. Really good. You solved a lot of puzzles and see you're 1600. Fuck yeah, dude. Hell yeah. That's awesome. Samrata. Good. I'm glad that that actually was beneficial for you. Um, I should do some puzzles too. Ugh, I've been lazy about puzzles. I've been lazy about them. But I've been focusing on some other stuff. All right. The bishop has come out, which is why the move e6 has been avoided to the point in the first place. Right. So they haven't done e6 because they want to move the light squared bishop. White can and often does chase the bishop, but this weakens the king side. So I'm assuming the chase is, but it doesn't show me, of course. Like here, you could chase it. How else can you attack? You could attack there, I suppose. I mean, you could attack this way. You come this way for no goddamn reason. Okay. The Karpov variation. Look at this guy. Look at that. Look at that sexy Soviet. All right. Karpov variation is knight d4, d7. Sorry, knight d7. On the fourth move. So blah blah blah. Knight d7. Noni, is he talking about black? It is. Here. Knight d7. There. Although that may not be with this classical variation. It's named, no surprise, after Anatoly Karpov. Black prepares to develop the other knight to f6, but without having to recapture the pawn. I have a feeling that this is set up differently. So knight comes here. Nani? It is named, okay. Black prepares to develop the other knight to f6. Right. Right. So he puts his knight here so that it's guarding this knight when this happens, so it doesn't get taken. Is that what's going on? And then he can like push his merp here. I don't know, maybe here. Huh. So the Karpov variation is actually to block in the light squared bishop. Interesting. That said, this move isn't absolutely necessary, and white is under no obligation to take on f6. In fact, after knight f3, knight f6, white often plays knight g3 here, so just moving back instead of taking. And scars far better off with it. So actually retreating the knight, it says, is better statistically. In part because the bishop remains boxed in on c8 just by the knight merp. So the idea is with the Karpov variation, he drops a knight here, which blocks the bishop. So whatever happens, knight comes out. If they take and you take this way, now you've opened up the bishop again. Fine. Fine. This is riveting information. Ugh. I'm going to poo-poo on all this. And you know what's going to happen? It's going to happen immediately when I play. Should probably just play one, but let me go through this one last thing. All right. Knight d7. Oh my god. It's not going to let me do that. Almost as common as knight d7, so knight to here. Can you see my... Yeah, you can. Is the immediate knight to f6, even though it results in doubled pawns. So if I go knight f6, let me come up here. Hi, Karpov. Okay, so instead of... Motherfucker, really? Instead of coming out this way, immediately pop this way. Hey, this is taken. And then pawns are doubled somehow. Yeah. the knight f6 variations. White can play knight g3, but taking, as it's shown here, is the most popular and most challenging move. So you can capture toward the center. Or away. I've always been told, in general, attack towards the center. The former, God, whoever wrote this. So attacking towards the center is a more dynamic choice in exchange for a shattered pawn structure. The latter, which means attacking away from the center, while obviously also resulting in double pawns, is still more solid and less compromised. Interesting, really? So attacking towards the center is actually more dynamic versus attacking away from the center is more solid. Okay, it doesn't tell me why. All right, and that's all we're going to do for that because I'm a little bored. Let's play a game. What you've all been waiting for.